Hello viewers, and a warm welcome to our weekly program, Close Up with me, Shifara Olagao. In this edition, we entertain two items as we normally do. The first item is on research and education through Africa's UbuntuNet Alliance, while the second one dwells on investing in the youth on the same continent. Stay with us. Now, East and South African countries established UbuntuNet Alliance in 2005 with a view to giving a boost to their collaboration in research and education. As a member and proponent of the move, Ethiopia hosted the 10th annual networking conference of UbuntuNet Alliance for Research and Education Network last week in Addis Ababa. Jerusalem Batia has prepared the following story. Take a look.
Research and innovation are increasingly interdisciplinary, interinstitutional, and international in generating vast amounts of data, particularly in scientific fields that rely on highly specialized, expensive instrumentation. Now, the digital revolution gives way for universities to go global beyond their single campuses to reach a global audience. However, according to data from the American Chronicle of Higher Education, Africa contributes only 2% of research publications worldwide, which puts the continent at a lower rank in research output and utilization of findings for problem-solving activities. That's why East and South African countries have established UbuntuNet Alliance in 2005 with a view to alter this trend and enhance collaboration in research and education. With this in mind, UbuntuNet Connect 2017, the 10th annual networking conference of UbuntuNet Alliance for Research and Education Networking was held last week here in Addis Ababa. Ethiopia is a member of UbuntuNet Alliance since 2008 for enhancing interconnectivity of its universities and research institutions with other countries' universities. However, in research, still Africa ranks very low in research productivity in terms of publications.
In contemporary African economic transformation endeavor, the research and development has received a considerable attention. With this understanding, many African governments are attempting to allocate resources for research, for scientific research, human resource capacity building, etc., to meet quality education.
The Alliance enables African researchers, scientists, and educators to collaborate and work together with each other and in the rest of the world to develop common and integrated solutions that can solve their common challenges.
Knowledge and solutions of many problems exist and are accessible to many people through ICT. And this industry community where exist the highest concentration of knowledge, competency, capacities, technical expertise on all the fields. This gives us a unique opportunity to be innovative, to combine connectivity, ICT, and innovations to support our member university.
Working on interconnectivity has been said vital to make the best out of research findings. Particularly, regional research and education networking organizations would contribute immensely in this regard by hastening the implementation of regional and continental agendas.
These research networks are also crucial for regional bodies like the African Union, which is pushing its Agenda 2063, to seek to accelerate the implementation of past and existing continental initiatives for growth and sustainable economic development on the basis of exploitation of science, technology, and innovation as stipulated in Agenda 2063.
According to Ethiopian Ministry of Education, there has been a rapid transformation and massive expansion of higher education in Ethiopia. The last 13 years has seen an increase in the number of universities and enrollments. Despite massive resource allocations to higher education, some universities still report insufficient supplies of text and reference books, laboratories and workshop equipments, and access to ICT facilities, which affect the quality of education. Hence, to improve the quality of higher education, several initiatives have been implemented.
In this plan, universities are anticipated to build their own capacity to produce qualified personnel and carry out problem-solving research to contribute in socio-economic transformation of the country. To strengthen research and meet quality education, building research universities and center of excellences are some of the intervention areas that we are trying to in place.
In related to this, Ethernet was initiated by the government of Ethiopia in 2001 as part of a national capacity building program. Ethernet is an Ethiopian national research and education network and a member of UbuntuNet Alliance. It initially focused on the development of ICT infrastructure for public universities to share educational resources locally and globally, and providing teleeducation, telemedicine that enabled the delivery of many types of trainings, classes and meetings.
We do have universities, research centers and all the academic center in Ethiopia and all over Africa, but they are not connecting each other. They are not working together. So we have to connect each other and they have to share resources. They have to share, when we see resources, it's not only just books or laboratory materials or research materials, it's humans also. So one researcher from Africa should have to be there and work closely in collaboration with Ethiopian researcher. So the main objective is physically, every Africa country is connected to Europe or Western countries using the network.
In addition, it has also an objective to build and deliver high-performance networking that connect institutions with each other and similar institutions in the world, and by doing so enables them to share educational resources and collaborate both within Ethiopia and globally.
We have been working closely with UbuntuNet Alliance to get international trainers, so we are providing trainings of trainers for all the university ICT units and researchers, so that their digital gap, digital literacy will be improved. We are also working locally to connect all the university. We have already connected, so one professor from one university can easily give a lecture for other universities in Ethiopia. Right now, for example, all the universities are sharing their resources.
The Alliance is also supporting Ethiopian research centers and universities in improving research outputs and ensuring quality education.
The main benefit for us, you see, to improve the quality of education, we can easily get the contents of state-of-the-art contents of the other universities in Europe and America. We can easily contact their research materials for reference purposes. We can easily also access the laboratory equipment, they call it virtual labs. So there are a lot of advantage for our country to improve the quality of education and research outputs.
As long as Africa is to benefit from the interconnectivity, ICT infrastructure is critical to be in more places of the continent.
That the African Union remain committed to supporting ICT and innovation has enabling tools of social economic development, and to support organizations like UbuntuNet Alliance, who are providers of these tools that are really necessary to move research and education in Africa to the next level.
Academicians, policymakers, researchers and partners drawn from African countries were taking part in the 2 days conference.
Moving on to our next item, African heads of state and governments are set to harness demographic dividend through investments in the youth. As part of the effort, a 3-day conference was held at the African Union headquarters recently, gathering respective bodies in Addis Ababa. The forum has inspired many youngsters to make a difference in the life of their people, as well as focus on the significance of education for a better future. Abraham Asrat has come up with the following report. Let's watch it.
Currently, the importance of the demographic dividend in Africa, particularly the youth population, is regarded as a major source of development if utilized well. Recognizing this, African heads of states and governments are stepping up efforts to harnessing the demographic dividend through investments in youth. Taking the youth as the center, there is shared interest and continued commitment and communication platform organized by Africans to equipping the young population with adaptive education and skills for employment. European Union is also partnering with African Union to leverage the potential of the youth in their quest to avail opportunities for the young population on both sides. However, a lot remains to be done if Africa is to benefit from its youth population. Having the objectives like developing and validating policy recommendations with regard to the youth, a 3-day conference has been held in the African Union headquarters recently, gathering respective bodies in Addis Ababa.
We are ready to help African government deal with the youth unemployment challenge. We know that the unemployment challenges across Africa have a potential to fuel the fire of political violence and civil unrest, as evidenced by political unrest in Senegal in 2012, demonstrations in South Africa, including xenophobia actions.
Young people in both our continent want to make a difference to their own life and to the one of their community. But African and European young people also face common challenges in achieving this aspiration, such as the high rates of youth unemployment, building societies that are responsive to labor market needs in as much needed in Europe and in Africa. It is a common challenge on both continents.
We understand in the AU for the youth to be our driving force, for them to be champions of an integrated and vibrant Africa. They need to be competent and skilled to contribute to the realization of Agenda 2063.
The youth of both continents are engaged in working toward bringing new ideas to avail opportunities and work toward green economy.
Our main purpose is to present new ideas for the future of the youth and solutions towards problems, common problems for the African and the European youth, and problems that are unique for each of our countries. And we will present those ideas towards the heads of state during the Abidjan summit at the end of November.
Well, I think that a prospective green economy or a transformation of the economy towards a more sustainable one or more sustainable path, also in terms of creating jobs and transforming the way we produce energy could lead to an increase in jobs and opportunity for skilled people also in Africa. I mean, Africa has a huge potential both in terms of solar energy and wind energy.
The forum has inspired many youth to make a difference in the life of their people as well as focus on the significance of education for a better future.
Ethiopia, yes, we need to reach out for as many youth as possible, and I want to assure that we can make the change. And just being here, it doesn't really feel good because I need many youth Ethiopian representatives so that we can make a difference. And we'll reach out for many youth as possible, and let's be vibrant and active and motivated to really be the change for tomorrow.
I think that education has a huge role to play in converting the type of human capital we have into the one that can create jobs or self-employment. I think that the focus around self-employment versus this burden of creating a lot of jobs is important.
That's a very important word, collaboration, because if we can share our learnings and our experiences across the continent as well as across global countries, the kids of today via the internet have access to information and each other. And I think the significance of bringing all of that shared knowledge to one place via this conference is a brilliant way to start to elevate the youth into a place of true empowerment.
Becoming job creators rather than being job seekers and moving into action were also considered as vital points by the youth, who took part in the conference.
You know, I'm a great believer that the youth must also do something for themselves. And one of the themes coming out of this conference, Africa Talks Jobs, is really let's move away from being job seekers to becoming job creators. That then means we need to change our mindset. And the way we try and focus this conversation at Startup Support is really about having an entrepreneurial mindset. And the application of an entrepreneurial mindset means that I look for opportunities to create value.
I heard a lot of good proposals how we can get the youth involved, how we can support young entrepreneurs in their quest for job creation, in their quest for making their country better. But of course there is a long way to go because it's just proposals and it lacks a bit of a way how we will deal with the problems in the future.
We ask our leaders, both European and Africans, to listen to our voices and to help us shaping the future we want.
The youth have also appreciated the initiative taken by both AU and EU and underlined that it is the right time to search for opportunities in other areas than the corporate world to look for jobs. They also urged the leaders to listen to the concern of the youth of both continents.
Well, now it's good that on both continents the institutions realize the crucial role of youth. So now the theme for the next AU-EU summit is going to be investing in youth for a sustainable future. And this youth plug-in initiative is just perfect because it implies youth participation in coming up with policy recommendations for the heads of state at the big summit.
Well, I think that currently Africa has an increasing, demographically increasing youth, but also the most competitive and skilled youth in its history. And it's the correct moment to listen to youth in the sense of making their voice heard by governors, and this is the only way to address very major challenges.
There's other industries that young people are not looking at, that they are looking at corporates which are servicing certain sectors which are exhausted. For example, renewable energy is really a great opportunity for young people to explore. Digital and mobile technologies are quite useful, and so I think that there's practical sectors that are still a grey area that people are talking about that youth can provide solutions for, but they can only do it successfully if they have a network approach.
The experience sharing among the youth of both continents has also been held, and it's dubbed vital for harnessing critical resources.
Really good for us to see how you solve problems in your continent, and we can learn from each other and then be stronger as a team, not only as a continent but as a team of young people all over the world, because it's important to go all over the world to change it for the better, and I think that's absolutely.
I'm hoping that a platform like this will give us the access to those critical resources from both the African Union countries as well as the EU countries. So above knowledge sharing, it's access to critical resources that allow impactful work to really show the seeds on the ground.
The youth have also urged policy implementation and close consultation with leaders with a better level of persistence.
There's nothing wrong with the policies. Let's sort of put that conversation to bed. It's the issue of policy implementation, and policy implementation in terms of longevity. So when we have regime change, new government comes in, do we have continuation of those very same policies that we've started versus stop, start? And if we can sort of really embrace and entrench the long-term approach of value creation, the long-term approach of creating wealth, that means you have policy certainty. Bring the youth closer to those conversations, because the policy needs to work on the ground. And if it's sort of done in the ivory tower without the consultation, the contribution of the people that's going to experience the part of the policy implementation, you know, it's also not adding value from both sides of the equation.
The Continental Dialogue Platform has brought together more than 400 delegates, representatives, and participants from Africa and Europe.
Well, dear viewers, that wraps up the program in this edition. Many thanks for joining us. Please do join us next week, same time, with yet another edition of the program. Till then, it's goodbye from me, along with the production technicians from EBC Studio. Bye-bye.